The sights and sounds of Indiana's second largest city. We're there this week for an in-depth look into what's driving the economy in Northeast Indiana. Plus,
elected Chief Movement Officer.
The one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger making a move to partner with an Indiana-based global leader in making medical devices. And
it's called the Apparatus for Navigating Tarps.
Ant Tarp Device, a Hoosier entrepreneur with a new, easier, and safer way to get all those leaves off the ground.
I'll be back.
Inside Indiana Business is next.
From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gary Dick. Presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and Liuna.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick, coming to you this week from Indiana's second largest city, Fort Wayne. IBJ Media and Inside Indiana Business this week, bringing our Engage Indiana series to Northeast Indiana, the 8th of 9 events we're hosting in every corner of the state for a discussion of focus on key issues facing regions around Indiana. And for Northeast Indiana, the operative word is momentum. That momentum continued late this week, and it involved a familiar name.
When it comes to do-it-yourself projects, rely on True Value Hardware stores.
Some of us remember Pat Summerall and those iconic True Value Hardware commercials in the 70s that helped to build a global brand. A federal bankruptcy judge has okayed Fort Wayne-based Do It Best's bid for True Value, giving Northeast Indiana a mega headquarters.
4,000 is already a lot, but to have another 4,000 across the country and across the world is significant. That makes us the largest co-op on the planet. That's exciting, but I think the other thing that excites me is some pieces that we don't possess already. Do It Best. True Value is a national brand that has been around for ages. You and I probably remember Pat Summerall and Paul Harvey, right, as major spokespersons that built this brand over decades. And I look at it as a tremendous opportunity to not only care for that brand, but reinvigorate it. And so I think that's something that's truly unique about this deal.
Do It Best anchors the region's biggest talent attraction project, Electric Works, the nearly $300 million transformation of a former General Electric campus into a mixed-use innovation district. Naysayers said it would never happen, but it is nearing completion, benefiting from that Fort Wayne momentum.
Fort Wayne is a pretty scrappy town. They're kind of gritty. We'll do this, we'll figure it out. And that really is the story of Electric Works, along with some key city leaders and partners such as my employers, the Ancora, the developers. The community really came together to try to figure out how do we restore this campus? It's too important to let it be leveled. We need to give it new life. And that really is what is the testament of what's happening now.
Once considered a Rust Belt relic, Fort Wayne continues to elevate its profile as one of the top metro economies in the Great Lakes states, the anchor of an 11-county region that continues on a big winning streak.
I think the way they collaborate and come together and really, as a community, have set a vision where they want to be, I think has allowed them to really accelerate the momentum that you're seeing here.
More than $1 billion has been invested in downtown Fort Wayne over the past 10 years, with the anticipation of an additional $1 billion in the decade ahead. Investment that has changed the face and pace of Indiana's second largest city. The most recent additions: Star Financial's new 7-story, $45 million corporate headquarters, and The Pearl, a luxury mixed-use development privately financed by Sweetwater founder Chuck Surak and his wife Lisa.
Yeah, my wife and I do love Fort Wayne, and I'm not sure this one does make business sense, but we built this completely with our own money. We didn't go and get tax incentives and those sorts of things, and ended up being an $85 million investment. But I wanted to do something really nice for Fort Wayne and show that it can be done. If you have the willpower and the soul to do it, it can be done without the help of others necessarily. But it's just a beautiful building, and we're very pleased with it.
The investment extends to the riverfront, where tens of millions of dollars in projects like the nearly $90 million riverfront at Promenade Park are adding to quality of life that is helping the region attract talent.
We have the only professional ballet in the state of Indiana, in Fort Wayne. We have a fantastic Philharmonic, art museum, and a really just vibrant art community. So all those things, I think, converge to create this
unique ecosystem.
An ecosystem that continues to be driven by manufacturing, but one that is diversifying, with Google's planned $2 billion data center and a vision for a medtech corridor connecting Fort Wayne and the orthopedics capital in Warsaw.
If you look at what we have in Fort Wayne, we have some, Fort Wayne Metals, we have some other companies that have been long tenured in this space. If you go down on the way to, you get into Whitley County, there's several different companies there that have laid down roots, that have been in the orthopedic business before, that have started their own enterprise as a result. Then you get to Warsaw, and obviously there's not only the large orthopedic companies, but there's also a lot of the support, companies around them, Paragon Medical along US 30 there. So I think we already have that foundation laid for that medtech, corridor.
Still ahead, the Terminator makes his mark in the Fort Wayne region.
Hasta la vista, baby.
More on Arnold Schwarzenegger's new role with Zimmer Biomet in Warsaw.
Over 100 million gears are spinning over the roads in the transmissions of our automobiles.
Well, you can find some of these vintage cars about 20 miles up the road from Fort Wayne at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Automobile Museum. It's a must-see for classic car lovers, a big attraction in the region, and a testament to Indiana's long history in automobile manufacturing. It's one that continues today at the GM assembly plant in Fort Wayne, one of the biggest employers in Northeast Indiana. More than 4,000 workers cranking out Chevy Silverado and GMC Sierra trucks. The 11 counties that make up Northeast Indiana are home to some world-class companies. Zimmer Biomet and its 5,000 employees, the largest employer in the region. That includes dozens of orthopedic and medtech companies. Northeast Indiana also home to Maple Leaf Farms, the largest duck producer in the United States. The Leesburg family-owned company produces around 10 million ducks per year that are distributed to top restaurants around the globe. By the way, Indiana has been the top duck-producing state in the country for the past 50 years. Indiana is also one of the nation's top egg producers, and Creighton Brothers in Warsaw produces nearly 2 billion eggs annually, making it one of the top 30 egg producers in the U.S. And Fort Wayne is home to the world's largest online music retailer, Sweetwater, founded in 1979 by entrepreneur and philanthropist Chuck Surak. It has more than 2,000 employees at a sprawling Google-like campus in Allen County, and we'll have much more on that story a bit later in the show. Well, the region is also home to the orthopedics capital of the world, Warsaw, about 40 miles to the west of Fort Wayne. And one of the global companies located there is making some big headlines. And for that, we go back to the studio in Indianapolis.
Thanks, Gary. Well, Zimmer Biomet joining forces with global icon Arnold Schwarzenegger to promote people to move forward. Business Health reporter Kylie Veleta is here with more. Kylie.
That's right, Mary Rachel. The famous fitness buff now doing business in Indiana. Arnold Schwarzenegger officially on the Zimmer Biomet payroll as Chief Movement Officer, a new position created just for him.
The Terminator has been cast in a new role with one of the biggest corporate names in Indiana, an announcement making national news.
I can tell you we are beyond excited. We have a bold mission and vision here at Zimmer Biomet. We want to solve some of the most meaningful healthcare challenges. And if you're going to go bold, you got to go with the Terminator. We're here to terminate pain, and I love the partnership.
Headquartered in Warsaw, Indiana, Zimmer Biomet is one of the biggest orthopedic medical device companies in the world and the first to sign on a celebrity.
And then people talk about joint replacements and stuff like that. They're afraid of it.
His job? Shoot down those fears. Schwarzenegger had a hip replacement at the age of 55, filming Terminator 3 just a short time later.
That's why I'm excited to join Zimmer Biomet as a Chief Movement Officer. I love the title, Chief Movement Officer.
His audience, a bit different than his movie days, directing his message to the aging population.
I see in the gym people, older people all the time, walking around in pain. Mm-hmm. And I just tell them, I said, there's no reason anymore to be in pain. And there's no reason anymore to take pain medication because there is now a way of going to replace that body part that is failing you.
Zimmer Biomet says arthritis impacts 600 million people around the world, but only 5% are getting treatment. The orthopedic giant is hopeful the Hollywood icon will convince more people to have joint replacements.
The more you move, the more you exercise, the healthier you're going to get. Your quality of life is going to be the longer you live. And this is why it is so important of accomplishing that goal that Zimmer has, to have more people feel more comfortable with the idea of getting replacements.
Adding star power to the orthopedics capital of the world.
Zimmer Biomet's revenue for fiscal year 2023 was a whopping $7.8 billion. Well, Q-rigs are mainstream now, and an Evansville startup wants to bring the same simplicity to growing fresh produce. A new dose of federal funding is pushing Anew one step closer to that goal with a $175,000 Phase 1 Small Business Innovation Research Grant. Co-founded by Purdue University alumni, Anew says the pure produce container has its own light and water systems to grow fresh produce without pesticides or preservatives. Anew, it's interesting because Evansville was previously known as dishwasher capital of the world because Whirlpool was based there. Well, that has since closed, but they still have a huge amount of expertise there. And so Anew says it's been really helpful developing their product there because they have a lot of engineering folks that are really great at engineering kitchen appliances. So it's been a great spot for them to develop.
That's exactly what it looks like. And the Terminator doing business in Indiana. So what exactly is he doing?
It's a fun story. Chief Movement Officer, kind of marketing, but he's dabbled in this a bit. If you recall, last winter he had one of the most popular Super Bowl ads. So he's a little familiar with corporate America. It'll be a fun one to watch.
That's awesome. Yeah, Kylie, great stuff. Thank you. When we come back, the oldest hotel in Indianapolis unveils a multi-million-dollar makeover. How the Omni Severin connected its historic past to the future, plus other business news making headlines around Indiana. The Omni Severin Hotel, the oldest, longest-running luxury hotel in downtown Indianapolis, has unveiled a new look with a nod to its past. The $24 million renovations brought new furniture to all 424 rooms. Guests will experience new mattresses, upgraded internet and Art Deco design, and decorations. It pays tribute to the historic train travel at Union Station across the street.
We are really proud of the fact that the hotel has really been brought back to the glory of the 1920s. We were built in 1913, and it takes a lot of money to really have these kinds of finishes and make this final product.
Guests can also enjoy the new 8th Notch Cafe and Market, as well as the renovated Cardinal Bar. The entire renovation took just 6 months.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
Well, we begin with a major business deal involving a global company in southwest Indiana. Evansville-based plastics manufacturer Berry Global is set to be acquired by Amcor, a Switzerland-based packaging company. Berry is the 6th largest public company in Indiana. Bloomberg says the all-stock deal is valued at $8.4 billion. The companies aim to close on the deal in mid-2025. In Northwest Indiana, Amazon is opening its 2nd location in Merrillville off I-65. The $90 million investment will create hundreds of jobs, although the exact number is unknown. Amazon will use the facility as an inbound cross-dock, which receives orders from vendors but does not directly ship them to customers. The Arctic meets the Ohio River in southern Indiana. Greenland-based Lumina Sustainable Minerals developing its first U.S. facility at the ports of Jeffersonville. The $14 million investment will create 50 new jobs. Lumina sources minerals from around the world to support research projects like space travel. In Delphi, 68 new apartments are now open. The interurban apartments pay homage to the former interurban depot that was part of a railway system in the 1800s and 1900s. The nearly $13 million project is the largest private housing investment in county history.
It takes a team approach to make sure that the community that we love is maintaining and growing. And this project just highlights the fact that every community has an opportunity to do something special. And this is kind of our next step in the growth of Delphi and Carroll County.
The interurban is located just a block away from downtown Delphi. Adams says the project is an opportunity to welcome new residents and provide economic mobility for current residents. Well, this week, organizations across the state celebrated Global Entrepreneurship Week. Launch Fishers and the Indiana IoT Lab joined this celebration for the first time. Both spaces are home to around 200 companies. Entrepreneurs got the chance to share about their company and lessons they've learned.
We're seeing a lot of great technology. We're seeing companies that are coming through our facility. They graduate, they move on, but yet they want to come back here and show support to fellow entrepreneurs, newcomers that are trying to go through this.
The theme for this week was entrepreneurship is for everyone. High school students also heard from local entrepreneurs about their journeys and got a chance to ask questions. The dazzling display of fall leaf colors in Indiana has given way to those leaves falling to the ground. A Hoosier family-owned business has made it easier to pick them up by using a product called the Ant, a padded harness device that straps onto a tarp, making it easier for you to pull yard waste. Aaron Farrar got the idea in middle school while working for his dad's lawn care business in Lafayette.
We were at a cemetery, the Sons of Abraham Cemetery in Lafayette, and it was just about like it is now, late November, dark at like 4 p.m. It was starting to sleet, and we've got all these leaves that we're trying to clean up to process like the final push of the year. I had dragged enough heavy tarps that I just had the light bulb moment that there's got to be a better way.
Aaron, a military vet, established Ant Practical Products back in 2021 and credits trade shows for helping grow the business. Now let's send it back out to Gary in Fort Wayne.
Well, up next, we put a wrap on our visit to Northeast Indiana on a musical note.
No New Year's Day.
How a Fort Wayne businessman struck a chord with global entertainers like Stevie Wonder and Brad Paisley. The story behind Sweetwater when we return.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
A nonprofit affiliate of Fair Oaks Farms, receiving millions of dollars to advance its mission. Lake State Dairy Center set to receive $2.7 million over the next 5 years to add new exhibits focusing on sustainable farming and food production at Fair Oaks Farms. Located in Northwest Indiana, Fair Oaks Farms welcomes close to 100,000 people every year. Construction has started on a nearly $50 million workforce development facility in Hancock County. Amplify Hancock will feature education and training space for the county's local high school students. Ivy Tech will also host classes for people looking to upskill their careers. It's set to open in July of 2026. And the legacy of longtime civic leader Jim Morris, who passed away in June, will live on at IU Indy. The university naming its new $110 million athletic center James T. Morris Arena. Currently under construction, the arena will be home to IU Indy basketball and volleyball, featuring training facilities and office space. It will also be the new headquarters for USA Track and Field. James T. Morris Arena expected to be ready by the end of 2026. Well, when Chuck Surak was a kid, he learned how to sell. First, product pot holders, 15 cents each or 2 for a quarter. Chuck also had another vibe. He loved music, and that wound up putting him on a path to build the largest music retail company in the nation. There's something in the air about Sweetwater, its roots tracing back to the 70s, and a recording rig on 4 wheels.
So I had this old beat-up VW bus and a little bit of recording equipment. I'd pull the bus alongside the church, the school, the nightclub, and basically run microphone cables in, and I would sit in the bus with my headphones and the recorder, and I'd record these acts, these groups, and eventually it parlayed into Sweetwater.
That little VW bus now parked inside Surak's Mega Music Superstore. A kid in the candy store experience for musicians and artists. Sweetwater has it all. Recording studios, performance stages, a music academy, and retail store where every instrument under the sun dots the walls. Violins, pianos, guitars, lots and lots of guitars. One instrument struck a major chord with Surak to help build Sweetwater and connect him to big voices in the music business.
In 1983, I got to go see a prototype of a music instrument called the Kurzweil K250. It was the first instrument that played back digital recordings of other instruments. I bought bought an early model, number 32, serial number 32, and I reverse engineered how it worked and started making my own sounds for it. And I became friends with Stevie Wonder and Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton and Bob, all these old artists. And next thing you know, my friends are wanting help with their instruments, so I'm helping them with new sounds, and it progressed from there to wanting recording equipment, so I became a dealer for recording equipment, and it just exploded from there.
And even though Sirac sold Sweetwater in 2021, he still serves as chairman of the board. Not bad for a guy who weaved his way from making and selling potholders as a boy to building a global music empire.
We have become the leader in the world at what we do. We sell more equipment online, music equipment, than anyone else. Next year or two, we'll be a $2 billion company, which is amazing to me. You're starting a VW bus.
Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Inside Indiana Business. We've enjoyed our visit to Northeast Indiana, and we leave you this week with a look at Parkview Field in downtown Fort Wayne and a little holiday cheer. I'm Gary Dick. Thanks for joining us. Go out and make it a successful week.